I'd like to share my personal reading journey and some experiences I've accumulated to help make our reading process more effective. For me personally, books represent one of the greatest joys in life. I have been passionate about reading since I was a child. Without exaggeration, I believe a huge part of everything I have today, in terms of work, knowledge, and my way of thinking, is largely thanks to reading. Phase 1. Reading for consumption. Only my first phase was simply grabbing a book and plowing through it from start to finish, one after the other, and then doing nothing with the information afterward. Most of the books I read were nonfiction, focusing on professional fields and specialized skills. I quickly realized that with this reading style, the knowledge I absorbed would fade very quickly. I'd remember a lot right after finishing, but after just a few weeks, most of it would be gone, leaving maybe only 20 to 30%. I increasingly recognized that this approach was flawed. Phase 2. Reading and note-taking. I then transitioned to Phase 2, the stage where I started reading and simultaneously taking notes. For this, you fundamentally just need a writing tool, a pencil, or preferably a highlighter. The great advantage here is that besides making it easy to retrieve key ideas when you revisit a book or search for knowledge, it helped me develop a critical habit, paying close attention while reading. Since adopting this habit, my knowledge retention improved significantly. If the old way was 20%, this method doubled it to 40%. However, 40% is still quite low. It's clearly a waste of effort to spend time on a book and only retain that much knowledge. Phase 3. Discovering Kindle and minimalism. That led me to Phase 3, the stage where I discovered the Kindle. The Kindle is an e-reader whose screen uses e-ink technology, not an LCD screen like phones or tablets. Therefore, reading on a Kindle feels almost exactly like reading on paper and doesn't cause eye strain. Furthermore, every time you highlight on a Kindle, it stores those highlights in a dedicated section within the book, making all your saved highlights easily accessible. Next came Phase 4. Driven by my fascination with Audible, I discovered a speed reading technique. The Audible app allows you to increase the playback speed, which drastically accelerates the time it takes to consume books. Practicing this method is quite simple. Start by increasing the playback speed to about 1.3 times. Once you get comfortable, increase it further to 1.4 times or 1.5 times. Continue listening and increase again if desired. For me personally, I currently listen to less complex books at 1.7 times and slightly more complex ones at 1.5 times. At that speed, I save a significant amount of time while still absorbing the same amount of knowledge. This method is truly effective. I started reading prolifically, finishing a book every few days on average. At my peak, I remember reading over 100 books in 1 year. However, I realized that too much of anything is not good. I was back to just reading for the sake of reading. The volume of books increased significantly, but the depth of understanding did not. The quality phase. Summaries, Readwise, and Notion. This realization led to my evolutionary phase, which I encourage you to focus on, as it has helped me tremendously. This phase is almost the opposite of the previous one. I decided to focus on quality over quantity from now on and build a truly effective reading strategy. My strategy includes 1. Audible, scan. I still use Audible, but I define it strictly as a tool to quickly scan books. It helps me rapidly grasp the entire book and determine whether it's truly worth the deeper investment. 2. Kindle and structured note-taking. Notion, Readwise. After a quick pass with Audible and confirming, this is a great book, I read it a second time on my Kindle, taking structured notes. I then discovered the Readwise service. Readwise connects to my Kindle account, syncs all highlights to its server, and then emails me a few random highlights every day. This prevents my notes from getting forgotten. I can guarantee that the knowledge absorbed will increase by at least 50 to 60%, meaning 3 times more than in the first phase. The most useful phase. Mind map summaries. Now I'll share a new phase that has been the most beneficial for me. This involves intentionally developing a habit. Whenever you read a book, use a mind map to summarize the main ideas in your own understanding. The critical point is that it must be recorded in your own voice. I am confident that this method will help us increase retained knowledge to about 70 to 80%. Simply stopping at this step is enough to make it extremely effective. Advanced Phase 1. Recording personal perspectives. The next two steps.